Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Haygood. This is one of my favorite seasons. It's 'tis a season to be giving. I love focusing on the podcast for the rest of the year on local charities, local organizations that we can support that may need our time, our effort, our monetary donations, whatever you can give. And as we'll learn through this interview, it's all about starting now, but continuing through next year too. The help and the needs do not go away throughout the year here in the Valley. So let's take the time to learn and let's pick an organization to focus on and really just give where we can. I have the opportunity this week to sit down with Ryan Corry. He is a Chief Philanthropy Officer of St Vincent de Paul, who we all know very well in this valley. I went to their breakfast for the first time this year, and let's just say I will not be wearing makeup next year as I just cried my eyes out with so many wonderful, heartwarming stories. It's nice to know that the valley really does care. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have Ryan Corry of St Vincent de Paul. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. I think we can all look back on a time in our lives where maybe things weren't as easy, whether it was financial stress, life stress, work stress, family stress. I know we've all experienced something in our life. I've always been okay, and I know I've always been lucky to have a roof over my head, my bills paid. I've always had food on the table and clothes on my back, but not everyone is as lucky as that. And St Vincent de Paul of Arizona started here in 1946 with a mission to feed, clothe, house, and heal individuals and families in our community who have nowhere else to turn for help, all while providing meaningful opportunities for volunteers like us to serve our neighbors in need with love and compassion. Ryan Corry was 10 years old when he was volunteering with St Vincent de Paul, and as a young 10-year-old, he wondered why there were more people in need than there were volunteers. I'm getting choked up. It means a lot to me, especially having children this age. And just as a young 10-year-old, Ryan carried that question with him throughout his life, where he still stayed with St. Vincent de Paul, volunteering throughout his life, and now is the Chief Philanthropy Officer for St. Vincent de Paul. Ryan, I thought I could make it through the opening with you without crying, but obviously I couldn't. We all see the people in need. We know who they are. And I'm so thankful to have you today and just your organization as a whole for our community. So I went to my first St. Vincent de Paul breakfast a couple weeks ago, a magical moment. I cried that whole morning too. I'm just not going to wear makeup or anything when I talk to you guys because, right? They're all happy tears. They're all meaningful tears. It's just a powerful, powerful way to start my day when I did that breakfast with you. So you gave a very powerful speech about love and the power of giving, but I want to start with 10-year-old Ryan and really how that person, that little boy, really kind of formed your future for you, I feel like.
Yeah, I grew up in the East Valley. I went between Chandler, Tempe, and Scottsdale for most of my athletics and schooling and these things. And like you, I was pretty lucky. I didn't have any big challenges with a roof over my head or food on the table. And so when you start to notice and when you start to ask questions, it's hard to look away. And it's hard to not see the people in need and wonder, like, I wonder how big the gap really is. And I'll be honest with you, it feels big because of what we're told by media outlets and these, like, it feels big, but it's not, especially in Arizona. Like, we are not, name your favorite other big city. The homelessness challenge is within our grasp. It's about 9,500 people in Maricopa County. And you said it before, and I will affirm it. There are more than 9,500 of us who want to help. Most of us just don't know where to start.
I totally agree with that. I grew up in Georgia. I'm Jewish. I grew up in the temple there, but we very much were raised to always give back, right? It started with going to Sunday school and you give tzedakah every Sunday. We had to bring in some of our own money from our chores that week to give and donate. And that's what it did. As we got older and we were able to do more, we had a shelter, kind of a lot that we'll get into that St. Vincent de Paul does, where we went together as a family. My dad would spend the night there, but me and my mom and my sister would clothe them. And it was the most magical moment being in the closet with these women and men who didn't have anything, and they were trying on clothes and they got to get new clothes to go on job interviews. They were fed a warm meal where we got to sit with them and eat with them and get to know their story. And they really are just human beings like us that fell on hard times, and they just needed a little bit of help to get back, into the game of life. And carried me through life as well. So let's talk about the 4 pillars that St. Vincent de Paul really focuses on to help our community here in the Valley.
Yeah, so our mantra is to feed, clothe, house, and heal. And you bring up something that's really, really important in the work that you did. You're physically clothing people, but you're also sort of metaphorically clothing people in dignity and humanity, right? And in each one of our pillars, feed, clothe, house, heal, it's really about dignity. It's really about humanity. And so we focus on one-to-one interactions. So whether it's in our dining rooms when we're actually serving somebody a meal, right? We have a family dining room that we try and operate it like a restaurant. You have a little menu, you get to choose between 2 or 3 entrees every night, and we have volunteer servers come and putting that down on your plate, just like we're out at a restaurant. Most of those kids think it's a restaurant. They don't know that their family's coming there to stretch the budget, right? So that kitchen, we're putting out 7,000 meals a day right now. We're supporting other organizations throughout the Valley, and obviously our 5 dining rooms across the Valley. You talked about clothing people, and it's exactly what we do. We're trying to get people back to job interviews. We're trying to give kids clothes that they're proud to go to school in. And we're really focusing again back on that dignity, right? When you feel clean and look clean, you can carry yourself differently.
Absolutely.
And that, you mentioned being in the shelter, that's where you were doing that work. We have a model that we call interim housing communities, and every word there matters. Interim is kind of a short space in between, and we really believe that this is just a temporary stopping point for people on their journey. Housing, we feel like in order for people to move forward, they need a roof over their heads. First and foremost, you need a good night's sleep, because that helps your decision making. You and I right now, if we had a few bad nights of sleep in a row, it would affect us, right?
We've been there. Even in our own bed, it affects you. So I can only imagine not even having a bed to sleep in, how it affects you.
And it's compounding, right? Because if you're talking days, weeks, months at a time, it's a compounding effect. And so we have 60 men and women who live on our campus right now. They're typically older adults, and many of them have disabilities. We have 260 men and women who live in our Washington Street interim housing community, and we're building another 100-room interim housing community on our main campus right now. So we're really excited to be part of providing that roof over people's heads. And that last part, heal, we have a world-class medical and dental clinic. And I'm confident in saying that because a lot of the doctors who come in and volunteer their time there, they're at other world-class facilities, Mayo, St. Joe's, right? Banner. And they come to St. Vincent de Paul, and what they tell us is, this is why I got into this work, to be with people, to take them through healing, not just an appointment, right? And so that's really, really important, and kind of runs the gamut of those 4 pillars that you talked about.
I want to dive in a little bit more to each pillar. You talked about you feed 7,000 meals a day, but it's not just the hot meals you serve. You also have a pantry for those in need. We at the breakfast heard from families, that have benefited from each one of your pillars has a story, right? And at the end of the day, they really benefited from all four. But talk about the food pantry aspect of you as well, because you have boxes of meals to hand out to go home to those families that may have a house but can't afford the food to go in the house.
Yeah, so this is the central part of our work. This is how we were founded in Paris in 1833. It was really people going out two by two and delivering food to the front door of people in need, right? And we still carry on that work 190 years later. And what happens is we have 82 food pantries through central and northern Arizona. So if you call into our main office and say, I need help, I need a little bit of food to help stretch the budget, we will ask you, what are your cross streets? Like, what's your city? What are your cross streets? And we will connect you to the nearest food pantry so that our volunteers in that food pantry can come with a food box and deliver it to your front door quickly, right? You're not coming down to South Phoenix and standing in a line and hoping you get there in time and trying to figure it out. Maybe it's hot weather, barrier. No, we're coming directly to you. And in that visit, we call them home visits. Because we're really trying to engage that person and find out their holistic need. You said it beautifully. A lot of times it's not just the food. People benefit from each of our pillars. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a sustainable solution and get to know people and treat them with humanity and dignity and like they're our neighbors. Because guess what? They are. Yeah. And so when we start using that kind of language, like, hey, do you want to help a neighbor? Do you want to be a neighbor who cares for others? We're all like, yeah, I do. So that language is important.
Yeah, it really is a simple, different verbiage to just change your mindset, but it doesn't change the action and it doesn't change the outcome. And I'll say this, it gives you a sense of pride that you were able to give your time, anything what it is. I mean, like I said, I'm still fulfilled from that, what I was doing as a child. And, we'll get into this more later of how that, benefited me as a whole human into adulthood and carried that on. Clothing, it's so important. It's not, some people come into your place that have clothes, but maybe they can't wash them, and they've been living in a trash bag. The clothes have been for a very long time. Just to have clean clothes can make a person feel night and day difference. And y'all offer that kind of service as well for the community.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, I think we try and consider those really small things, even like we make sure we have toothpaste and toothbrushes on hand, right? Because we've all been through the day when we're hot and sweaty and dirty, and like at the end of a day, we're like, this needs to change. Think about a week. I mean, and so it's these small things that we take for granted every day that we make sure that we offer to anyone who comes in our doors.
I love that. Let's take a short break. We'll dive a little bit more into the housing aspect. And really, I love this. You're in a volunteer draft right now is the word I use. And I think that's so cool. And we're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to talk about some of the stories as well that we can focus on. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. We're sitting here with Ryan Corry from St Vincent de Paul. We are focusing on 'tis the season to be giving and focusing on our charities and organizations here in the Valley. You all are huge. I mean, you really are on every corner. We were just saying that earlier. Let's talk about the housing because you said it earlier, Ryan. Don't let the fear factor of what we hear on the news deter you from, oh my gosh, there's nothing we can do. It's too big of a problem. Where are we going to start? When you said, what'd you say, 9,500 homeless people right here in Maricopa County, I did think it was much more than that. We've seen on the news recently, they've done a clean out in some of Phoenix of the homeless encampments and stuff like that. You were talking about how you all are building new housing. Talk about that process. And there are different pillars of even your housing status, because I want you to talk about how you can adopt a family, or how you really help these elderly couples that maybe don't have enough to go into retirement, but they're still healthy and ready to a life to live as well.
Yeah, you hit on a number of kind of categories of folks, and what we find is, even if you fall into one of these categories, a family or older adult or single male, every story is so unique, and every solution that needs to have an architect is unique. And so I think the first thing starts at, do we believe as a community that no family, like kids, we're talking kids, do we believe that no family should be homeless? And this is a choice. This is a community choice that we have in front of us. And if we say, oh my gosh, I don't want kids to live in their car in the middle of the summer, I don't think families should have to couch surf and try and figure out if their kids are going to go to school. If we believe that, then we have to focus on homelessness prevention. We can't let people become homeless in the first place. And St. Vincent de Paul, that's been a real staple of our work since we were founded. We will identify families who maybe had a hard month, single parent, had to stay home for a week and miss work because the kids were sick. Well, now you're a week behind in pay. Now you're late paying your rent. Now you're getting fines. You might never catch up. So let's get to that single parent during that week of need and say, we got you. As a community, we know this is a hard time. We will take this month because you're stable otherwise. You're good. And we'll prevent homelessness for pennies on the dollar of what it would cost if that family became homeless. And we're talking about an average of, let's call it $2,000 a family to prevent homelessness, and an average of $40,000 a person if that person becomes homeless and has to utilize the emergency department as their primary care or other community services. So this is an economic smart choice to prevent homelessness.
Because it's like an aha duh kind of statement that I wasn't aware of, right? Like, it really is so much cheaper to prevent homelessness than to get out of it, almost, for a family.
You're right. And you brought up, so how do we adopt these families during their time of need? One of the things that we did not talk about during the breakfast, which I'll share now kind of for the first time in a public forum, is that we've spent the last year developing an app, and you can find it on the App Store or Google Play. It's called Angels on Call. And you can go in there and you can sign up and you can say, I want to help a family, and I'll do it one time a year, and I'll do $500. Then the next family who comes in, when my name's on the top of the list, tell me. I'll do it. I'll help. And when that family comes in and when your name's on the top of the list, it'll send you a notification. It'll tell you a story of the family and what their need is, and it'll give you some options. It'll say, you told us you'd help a family with $500. Click here and do it now. It'll tell you, but the family's need is $1,125. Maybe this was a month you got paid 3 times instead of 2. And maybe you can do it, right? Or maybe it was the month that you had to put a set of new tires on your car and you can do 200, but not 500. The point of it is that we have a list. This is the draft you were talking about. The voluntary draft that we all raise our hands and we'll say, I'll do something. Call me when a family's in need. And then we just have a huge list of people who are willing to help. So whether you can do the full 1125 or whether you can only do 200, there's a bunch of people behind you who can help too. And that's the point of this, that we just identify family in their time of need, and then we match them with a bunch of people who are willing to help.
So Angels on Call, that's the name of the app? All
That's
right.
the name of the app.
That's easy. Well, again, all of this will be in the description of the episode and as well to make sure that we don't forget. One thing I thought was really cool that I learned also, you have a goal, Ryan, and your goal is to provide 2,025 people with shelter by 2025. We're ending 2023 and y'all are, I think I remember 68% reached to your goal at this point.
Good memory.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's amazing. That I mean, over a year away, and you're already more than 50% from getting to your goal. So it can be done. These little things.
You're absolutely right. And even a step further than providing shelter, we're providing people housing, right? And so this is the place where they can live for the rest of their lives, maybe. And we do that in a whole host of ways. A lot of it is through community support in the time that those people are with us. But also, we found some really, really cool partnerships with landlords who are saying, I get it. We have an affordability issue throughout Arizona, and I want to help a little bit. And we give them different ways to be the helper.
I love that. All right, healing. Healing comes in all different shapes, sizes. It starts from the inside and goes outside. And sometimes it starts outside to heal the inside, with those clean clothes, showers, toothbrush, those little simple little things. Healing is so important, and I learned so much. Y'all really do. You talked about this earlier, Ryan. The dental care, just getting your health care taken care of, cancer patients, all of this. I even learned that y'all had people that were receiving your care that ended up becoming doctors and returning to support other people from them. I love seeing the full circle of, walking in because you need the help and then walking in because now you're ready to offer the help that was received. I think that goes to say a lot about who St. Vincent de Paul is as a whole when it comes to the word healing.
Yeah. And I think, being at St. Vincent de Paul is like your soul taking a breath. I mean, whether you need help or whether you can offer help, like this is the place where people come together on ideas like dignity and humanity and care for each other. And I really feel like even folks who come and need help, they say, I've never been to a place like this before, a place that cares about me and cares about me moving forward. And that stems from the people sitting in the dentist chair all the way to Dr. Betsy Leva, who grew up very similar to the people we serve. And now she's the Dr. Betsy Leva who is providing care for them, right? And so, again, it goes back to that dignity and humanity in all of us and the choice to see the potential in every one of us.
I love that. And who doesn't love a good smile, right? I mean, it just changes a person's perspective and it warms you from the inside out. I have two young kids. I started volunteering when I was young. Let's talk about right now with the holiday season is a big time of needs and wants. You want in the help and people need the help. Tell me about what we can do right now to get involved in St. Vincent de Paul. We have the Angels on Call app for monetary donations, adopt a family. Talk about coming in to actually be of service to you guys. And can I bring my kids? Like how does that work?
Yeah, we have all sorts of opportunities
Okay.
and some that are kind of specifically designed just for families so that you can volunteer alongside your kids. So I'll start with that one first. We call it Hearts and Hands Day, and it's the opportunity to bring your family, young kids. I mean, I was bringing my 3-year-old when she was
Good.
3,
Okay.
and now her job was slightly different than her older brothers, right? She drew pictures that we would give to our residents and with little notes of hope and care, where my boys were packing sack lunches, right? And so that is on the first Saturday of December.
Okay.
It's typically from about 9 a.m. to 11:30. You get great direction, and it's a bunch of families volunteering together. So you don't have to worry if someone gets a little cranky, like it's just a bunch of parents trying to keep the kids on the inside of the building, right? And so I love that about Hearts and Hands. I bring my own kids. We have lots of other opportunities. We have for our early risers, you can come and serve breakfast in our Phoenix dining room, which is like on 9th Avenue and Jackson. And that starts at 6:30. So you show up at 6:30, you're to your office before anyone knows that you had a nice long volunteer session too. We have lunch and dinner service. We have food box packing. You can volunteer in our urban gardens. We have 3 of them throughout the city. Yeah, and it's big harvest season, so you'll have action out there.
That is true.
Yeah, and so we have tons of opportunities for all ages, all abilities, and we do need people not only this time of year, but January 1, people are like, okay, now we're in a new year and they're looking forward. I would just love to have a bunch of New Year's resolutions that say, I'm going to spend just a little bit more time serving at a place like St. Vincent de Paul in 2024. And I'm going to do it in weird off seasons. I'm not going to wait until Christmas. I'm going to do it in the middle of the summer. I'm going to do it during spring break with my kids. And so we're really excited about some of those offerings. We're doing summer camps. You might send your kids to sports summer camps or these kind of things. We're doing volunteerism summer camps too, where we're teaching kids about the opportunities to volunteer and the decency and humanity that comes through that.
And like I said, it fulfills you in ways that you didn't know, number one, I think you needed to be fulfilled. And it really lasts a lifetime. And I am proof of that. Like I started this in 3rd grade. I was 8, 9 years old. And it has carried me through to my 40s. And I'm so excited to finally get my kids involved and stuff like that as well. So thank you for all that you do for this community. And I couldn't agree more. Please give your time now or anything you can give, but it is after the holidays that the need continues. And it's not just now. So don't focus on now, focus on starting now. And then that continuation for next year. I love that as a New Year's goal. One last thing, I know that this community means everything to you. Here in Scottsdale, we have lots of great vibes. So I always like to ask everyone, Ryan, what is your favorite Scottsdale vibe? What is your favorite thing about Scottsdale?
Food. I'm a big food guy. I'm pretty simple. One of my buddies, Corry Adams, runs Diego Pops. Love Corry, love that place. So I'm going to go with Corry Adams and Diego Pops as my favorite Scottsdale vibe.
I can't go wrong. And after this summer heat, man, that just sounds so good right now.
That's right.
Ryan, thank you so much, seriously, for taking the time out of your busy day to speak with us, to teach us and inform us. And again, go visit stvincentdepaul.net. All of the information is on there, how you can volunteer, who they are to even learn more about their history, what their needs are, and how you can be involved today, tomorrow, and next year. Thank you so much for all you do and for making this community brighter, one smile at a time.
Thank you, Alicia.
All right, stay tuned. I'm going to pull myself together really quick during the commercial break, and then we're going to talk some calendar events coming up next. When it comes to family-friendly dentistry, there's only one place in Scottsdale, and that's Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry. Teeth cleaning, innovative, pain-free laser dentistry, teeth whitening, root canals, and really any dental need you may have, Dr. Rob and his staff at Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry can handle it all. They're more than just a dentist, they really are family. We've been going there for over 3 years, and my family loves them. When your kids get excited to go to the dentist, you know you've got a good one. Dr. Rob DeVito is the only dentist in town that can handle it all. Give him a call at 480-990-1905. You can find him on the web at drdevito.com. And don't forget to tell him you heard him on the podcast. All right, don't forget to download the app Angels Who Care, and as well, you can check out more on stvincentdepaul.net to find out how you can help. Again, all of this is always in the description of this episode. You can find us on YouTube to watch the video episode or right here where you're listening to us. All right, this weekend, it kicks off one of the biggest Christmas events here in Scottsdale. The Fairmont Princess Christmas Begins. Fridays, November 17th is the official open date. Get your tickets quick, as we all know they get sold out very quickly. They're going to have lots of cool things. They're going to have the rides, the s'mores, the ice skating. They're going to have plenty of lights, the wonderful Christmas tree. But this year they're having a lot of new events as well, including an iceberg where you get to go in your big heavy coat and get to enjoy a drink, a cocktail, or a fun time in an iceberg. So that's going to be fun. My family and I always love this, so you'll be seeing us there. Also this weekend is AZ Bottles and Brews happening at Salt River Fields on Saturday, November 18th. So come and enjoy craft beers, spirits, wines, and hard seltzers from all around Arizona with over 25 local breweries, distilleries, and others, all from right here in State 48. All right, for all you fur babies out there, this weekend, November 18th and 19th is Petapalooza West. It's happening both days in the heart of Old Town from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It is the largest pet festival in North America, and it's a weekend full of tail-wagging fun, unforgettable moments, and a whole lot of pet-centered excitement. And it's going to be a beautiful weekend for it, so go on and enjoy it with your pets. Don't forget to subscribe to your favorite podcast listening app so that way you'll never miss another episode out every Monday. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Scottsdale Vibes Podcast. And we also have all of these video episodes on YouTube as well. Don't forget to check out and subscribe to Scottsdale City Lifestyle, a luxury magazine, just another opportunity to find out about all the wonderful things happening here at Scottsdale. Have a wonderful week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.